What? You're looking for the best mobile game to play? What about Raid Shadow Legends? What, you've never heard of it? No. Raid Shadow Legends has awesome visuals, loads of powerful champions, challenging PvE bosses, and tactical PvP content. But wait, there's more. Today, I'm going to play a little game with you lot. It's called Kiss, Marry, Kill. And with 750 champions to choose from, this'll be fun. Oh, Aina. She looks exciting, let me tell you. She's got that half long hair, half shaven head thing going on, which usually means they're crazy. I would probably kiss her just to keep her sweet. She's not marriage material. Lydia. She looks badass though, this one. I'm a big fan of red on a woman. Put her on pause. I need to see what's behind door number 3. Hotatsu. He is grotesque. There's no way I'm marrying that. He's minging. He's getting killed. Lydia would get married. I'd marry the hell out of her. And time is running out for you to get the legendary champion, Sun Wukong. For free, by the way. He's absolutely brilliant in both PvP and PvE, so you don't want to miss out on adding this primate, see what I did there, to your champion collection. Simply log into your raid for 7 different days between now and October 23rd, and you'll have this Monkey King at your beck and call. So click my link in the description or scan the QR code, and you'll get a free starter pack with this cool in-game loot if you're a new player. And you can play raid for free, but for now, enjoy the video.
He's a content king.
Yeah. Do you know the true Geordie?
You're gonna decide that, are you?
What the fuck is wrong with it?
You know how they play.
What a piece of that!
Welcome back to the True Geordie podcast. Today's guest is BRYCE HALL, someone I wanted to get on for a while. You're here because of the Misfits card, yes. Logan, KSI, Jake Paul. And it's funny because you're kind of the new generation of that kind of crowd. When I first seen you, I was like, so this is the new version of these guys. Bit different to them. But what's your relationship like with KSI, Logan, and Jake specifically?
I feel like with them specifically, it's like one of those where it's like we know each other. I think in the back of our heads, we respect each other. I would say I respect them. Mm-hmm. But also it's like, I'd fight him.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's like I would fight him, you know.
And you're kind of like, I guess when I first seen you, you're coming across as like almost like little bro to them. Like, okay, this guy's on the come up. You weren't quite as far on with your boxing as they were. What is are you closer to any of those guys than the others?
I mean, I used to film videos with Jake and Logan. Like when I was coming up, I went on Impulsive and I did a few YouTube videos with Jake. I wouldn't say I was close with them at all. It was just more like hey, we had a lot of similarities, very controversial dudes on the come up, in the spotlight, doing like just stupid shit for attention.
Have any of those dissed you at any point?
Oh yeah, they dissed me.
What was that like for you then?
I think Logan dissed me at this exact table. Like him and KSI dissed me at this exact table.
Fuck. Oh yeah, because they filmed in my studio. I remember that now. Yeah. And how did, like, if you don't mind me asking, what's that like though? Because you're in the space with these guys, you're wanting respect from them. Were you just brushing it off, or were you like, fuck?
You never want to meet your idols.
Really?
Yeah, it's like one of those where it's like, it didn't like make me mad when I hear them like shit on me. It's more like, oh man, that sucks. Like I looked up to these guys when I was coming up. I watched them before I was really popping on social media. And then they're like shitting on me like I'm just like a nobody. Like, who the hell is this kid? Let me brush him off. Let me shit on him.
I had a similar thing with Tyson Fury and Conor McGregor. But in terms of the actual card, let's talk about the main event. KSI, underdog against Tommy Fury. Seems very confident. Do you believe the confidence?
I think anyone in like the YouTube boxing space has to have some sort of delusional confidence. I do.
And you think it's delusional?
Oh yeah. I mean, yes, 100%. I give KSI props. Like he is taking Tommy Fury over Jake Paul, and I would say that Tommy Fury is a harder fight. He's taking like the harder fight versus the two, and I don't know why exactly. Maybe it's like some behind the scenes like talk. Like okay, if I lose, we'll set up a fight with Jake Paul. But I give him the props for fighting.
How do you see that fight going?
I don't see him winning. I don't see him winning at all. I mean, if he does win, I think it's going to be by like a knockout.
Yeah.
It's like going to be one of those crazy overhand rights that he always throws.
Do you see it more being like Fury controlling him or stopping him?
I mean, even if you watch like Fury versus Jake, you saw the difference between like a real boxer and the best YouTube boxer. Like there is a humongous skill gap, like in a humongous, like where we cannot compete with high level fighters. Like all the YouTube boxers, we cannot compete with these guys. They're levels above us, and that's like what KSI's like main thing is. There's levels. Like there actually is levels, and we're nowhere near like levels to these professionals. We do this like as like a fun little thing. Yeah, and some of them are kind of taking it too seriously, and then they're gonna get a reality check when they fight.
When you say too seriously, I'm assuming you mean their belief in
themselves, where they think that they're legitimate fighters.
Right. And in terms of Logan, Dillon, you're actually quite pally with Dillon, right? You're quite cool with him.
Yeah.
And what he's done is something I've never seen in the fight game. Like to go after someone's woman and like to go after her religiously on a daily basis. What's your take on that?
It's the fight game. Like you can say whatever you want and it is fucked up, but it's like you are trying to get into your opponent's head. You are trying to do whatever possible to fuck with them, get under their skin, and then fight them in a ring. It's like a game of chess. And to be honest, like Dillon's winning, but then actually Logan's like now doing like okay, I'm going to sue you.
Right, I want to talk to you about that because
it's like a chess match, and these guys are fucking good at chess.
Yeah. The fight. I mean, yeah, they're in this position for a reason. They know how to get under people's skin, both of them. But the fight community, when Logan first started being attacked in this way, and his missus was brought into it, a lot of pro fighters, MMA guys are like, you shouldn't be doing this, Dillon. Is way below the belt. But now, weirdly, it seems to be swinging a little bit because of the lawsuit. Now, all those fighters who are saying this is a shitty thing are now actually saying, but you shouldn't sue him. And I seen a clip on Logan on Jake Paul's podcast saying, "Oh no, like we can then just take money from the rest of his life now. Like we're gonna," and this is going further and further and further deeper.
I mean, he's kind of now just like flaunting that he has a lawsuit on Dillon.
Like, do you think after the fight, there's gonna be a moment where they shake hands, they laugh it off, okay, we'll leave the lawsuit? Or do you think Logan's going to be like, let's say Logan wins by knockout, best case scenario for his side. Do you think he's just going to be like, and now I'm going to ruin your fucking life, boy? Like, or do you think he'll leave it?
No, I think he's playing that WWE villain in real life now. I think he's going to just double down and just be like, oh yeah, you're still a piece of shit. Now, if Dillon wins, I think he's gonna like Logan has to like kind of just be like, okay, I gotta retire from YouTube boxing. It's obviously not for me. I'm still gonna sue you though.
Yeah. And how do you see that fight going?
I don't think and I mean this in the most respectful way, I don't think it's as mismatched as people are putting it. I think Logan's not that great. I don't think we haven't seen Dillon. We've seen like clips of him, but like that's what he's putting out for a reason. He's a smart guy. Like I think it's going to be a very good fight.
I think the thing I'm interested in seeing is Logan's sort of weakness so far in his fights have been like against KSI. KSI had more of the dog, right? And that's what gave him that edge. I think Logan was probably the better athlete, maybe even slightly more technically, more like a boxer. And then against Floyd, like you can't be the aggressor in that. So this is the first fight where I'm looking at him going, oh, you got to be the aggressor here. And there's a real point to prove. And it'll just be interesting to see if he does go out there and goes for the kill immediately, or if he is defensive and looking to jab.
I can't see him being like the aggressor. He is like a decent, like he's an athlete. Like he's a decent, he can move. Maybe like from what he's injecting, like shit, he'll have like that dog in him.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, really?
Dude, like come on.
No, I'm not. The thing is, right, because, you know, in the UK, right, we don't have the levels of athletes we see religiously in America. Like, when I watch, like, fucking high school sports in America, you guys are just jacked. Like, you guys are in the weight gym from 11 years old. Like, that isn't the UK. Like, we play sports once a week and we got a lot of fat kids, yeah. So, when I met Logan, I was like, damn, this guy is built, you know? And, like, he's been built from 2018 since I first met him. So I haven't really seen that much of a change. So in my head, I wasn't really thinking that.
He is changing and he's getting more and more in shape as he gets older. when your testosterone starts naturally going down. He's in the WWE where they promote really jacked dudes. Like if you're an average sized dude in the WWE on camera at all times trying to act tough, like
yeah, I'm not saying it's not a possibility. It's just the weight gain hasn't really been there. It's more defined. I get that.
Yeah, he's getting more defined. He's getting more vascular. He's looking like he looks like he has the testosterone of like a high school boy.
Do you think that they'll go a few rounds, or do you think there'll be a stoppage?
I think people want to see a stoppage, but I don't see it being stopped.
Really?
I think it's going to go the distance.
Dillon is tough though, isn't he? That's the one thing I'll give him.
Yeah.
Like, you don't got to be a black belt.
I do not think he's going to like get knocked out.
Yeah.
I think he's going to just keep moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think Logan would be disappointed if he doesn't get him out of there. Like, after everything that's been said.
If Logan doesn't win by knockout, he loses.
Exactly. I agree. I think that will be a disappointment for him. Unless it's like a humiliating, like playing with your food type beating.
And Tommy Fury, I think Tommy Fury's going to do that. Like, where he's just going to play with KSI.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think KSI is going to have a better game plan than Jake in terms of like, I think Jake tried to outbox the boxer, whereas I think KSI is going to have the good game plan of
make it dog fight.
Yeah. And even if he loses, I think, well, what else were you going to do? Like, what can you do?
If KSI doesn't get knocked out, it's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's fighting like a very skilled fighter. And like I said, I respect that he's taking that challenge upon himself after coming back. After taking how long was that break? Like 3 years?
Yeah, for the music.
Taking 3-year break and then coming back and only being active for another year and then just taking like a challenge like that.
Yeah, my main worry is the kind of fighters he's been fighting have been really below Tommy. Like, you know what, Jake?
I think it's a confidence boost.
Yeah, but with Jake, I was like, okay, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva. Like, I see the escalation here, then Tommy Fury. So, like, when it wasn't going his way, he was able to cover up and make it hard for Tommy to really hurt him. And he survived really well in those later rounds, whereas I don't think JJ has been put under the fire in the later rounds. And I'm just a bit worried, like, even though it's only a 6-rounder, are you going to be experienced enough against a puncher to if it ain't going your way, like the first 3 rounds, I'm very confident that he'll have all the energy and he'll be making it a dogfight. But if it turns and you're being controlled, you have to be able to look after yourself in there, right?
Yeah, I don't. That's why I say it. Like, I give him the props for accepting this fight.
Yeah,
like he's fighting like a real boxer, and. Like,
and a bigger dude as well.
His opponents have been like absolute dog water.
I agree.
Like just like cat food.
He hasn't had even a challenge since he came back. That's the worry. Is like you're going from, you know how like
he's going from Pineda to Tommy Fury.
Like exactly. Like that's where I'm kind of putting a lot of pressure mentally on his coaches, because for you to give him bums and then throw him in there with Tommy Fury, just a giant leap. You must be training him properly and you must have good sparring, because otherwise you're letting him down. If he goes in there and gets absolutely toyed with, well, then it's on his coaches, because they're the ones who said, you're ready now.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't like to be them if it does look bad. You know what I mean?
On your own event, yeah.
Yeah. So what is it that makes you want to fight then? Because you're making money. You don't have to fight.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I like competition. I'm a really competitive guy.
Yeah, you were a wrestler, right?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And I think after taking like a loss on my first fight, it made me stronger. Like, it made me like, I'm not scared anymore. I was like a scared kid going in that ring against like, you know, Austin McBroom. And
who's a legit athlete.
Yeah, he is a legit athlete.
Yeah.
I did not take the training seriously. I thought of it more of as a game, but like, I hate losing, and then taking like a massive loss like that in front of millions of people changed me. Then I took like a win in front of like that many people, and I just felt like what a win felt like in front of that many people. And it's like, oh man, I want to keep doing this. Like,
I really appreciated and respected the way you handled that moment. And like, for me, being a man is about not getting caught up in your own bullshit in that moment. Like, so to not let a loss define you, but also not let a win define you. And when you held it together in your win in that match speech. And for those who don't know, on the run up to the first fight, you'd been like, I'm a fighter, and you were talking your shit.
I was doing the Conor McGregor.
Did the right thing. You talked a load of shit, got everyone interested. I was interested. I hadn't really known about you that much beforehand, and I knew who McBroom was. And I was like, this kid really has got charisma and is selling this brilliantly. And when you did lose, I was like, fuck me, because that breaks some people. But it didn't break you at all. If anything, it feels like it was a blessing in disguise.
It was.
Yeah.
It really was. I even think when Logan lost against JJ, it was like a blessing for him. I think he, after his loss, became Logan Paul. I think after my loss, I became Bryce Hall. Like, I think it was like the same type of taking a loss publicly. If you can handle a loss in front of that many people publicly and move forward, you're really a winner.
Yeah, that's being a man, right? And it did feel like you went through a transition from like boy to man within a few short months of like, and I watched your first video last night that you made after that, where you had all your mates roasting you, and like Logan did a similar thing. He actually stole that from me, funny enough. But it's healthy to laugh at yourself, and I think that gives you an edge over a lot of these big time influencers. You don't have an issue with having a laugh at yourself, and I think that'll always keep you on the right side of the people. When people think you're above being laughed at, they don't like you anymore, and it can be problematic for your brand, right?
Yeah, I think it's also really easy to make fun of people, especially myself. So I think it's like, it's a good joke.
And what is it? You know, when you're in the gym, I look at some YouTube boxers and I think some of you guys are trying to prove something to your younger self, or some of you genuinely, like Jake Paul, I think just likes hurting people. Like some people have that. Where do you dig deep from? What is the thing that pushes you through your workouts or makes you want to knock someone out? I
just like getting better, like improving myself.
Growth.
So when I would watch like my first clips of me boxing and then seeing me now, and as you train more and more, everything becomes like a muscle memory. Like when I was, it kind of reminds me like of my training when I was wrestling, where everything just became like a muscle memory. You wouldn't even have to think about doing something. It would just happen. So it's like, I see a punch thrown at me, instinct. It's like, oh, okay, wow, I have like an open shot right here now. Boom. Like it's just something about learning, getting better and improving. Just makes me want.
It's healthy for you, right? Like I think mental health wise, it's really rewarding to feel that, like, oh, I'm improving. Like, and when you achieve so much at a young age, and I think JJ has spoken about this as well, like you kind of sort of lose your purpose at it. Whereas this puts you right at the bottom again, right at the bottom, especially when you start off with a loss. So to feel that growth again, it must be healthy for you.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't say you're a spiteful person.
No.
You don't really love the hurting people process.
No.
So what about McBroom then? So he's in your face and giving it all of that. How bad was that internally? Like, you know, when you put your head on your pillow at night before you're about to fight this guy, is it fear? Is it aggression? Are you wanting to hurt him the night before? Where are you going with that?
That one was fear. I think like also when I'm stepping in the ring with somebody, I think of it more as like a sparring match on a higher scale. I don't think of it as like, I want to hurt this person. Which I guess is why it makes, like, I'm not a fighter. Like, I'm just like an entertainer at the end of the day, along with every other influencer that's boxing.
You're sick of hearing that, right? You're sick of hearing that.
Yeah, like it's not, nobody's a boxer in this influencer boxing space. It's like, we're just...
What would it take for you to accept them? Would it take for them to beat a Tommy Fury?
See, I would say that Jake Paul is the only one that can claim the boxer.
Okay.
Like where he's like, okay, he's fought legitimate, even though they're not boxers, he's fought legitimate fighters with legitimate records and multiple legitimate fighters and have like dropped them or knocked them out cold. Like that's a fighter. I think.
Did you see the little thing that him and Logan had on their podcast where there was a bit of tension there?
Yeah, I did.
What did you make of that?
I think
the competitiveness.
I think it was always like a really known thing in the influencer scene that Jake Paul was actually like the good guy. Like everybody that knew Jake Paul, like in real life, he's like a good guy. Like Jake's a nice ass dude, super humble, but then put on like the front like of a villain. Right. And Logan was like the super nice guy online, but then behind the scenes was like the like the crazy one, you know?
Really? Is that how you see it? Because
I mean, that's just like what everybody sees.
right.
I personally don't know either of them well enough to like give my opinion.
But why bare knuckle though? Of all the things that you could have went off and done, I'm like, bare knuckle. Like everyone I knew was terrified for you. Even people who didn't know you that well were like, this is crazy. Because in my head, I'm like, you lost to Austin McBroom. And Austin's a solid influencer level boxer. And the guy you were going to fight, I know he was smaller than you, but he was hitting pads and I was like, he's fucking decent, him. This is not a good idea.
He had I think he had 30 amateur fights. Like he was like a legitimate fighter. For sure.
What was the thought process in taking bare? Let's start with bare knuckle, especially.
Took 2 years off after my loss.
Were you training that whole time?
No. Not at all.
Insane,
Not at all. I didn't even, I think I put the gloves on maybe like 4 times in 2 years.
Wow.
But then I started training 3.5 months before my fight, like before the bare knuckle fight. And after about like 2 weeks of like putting the gloves back on and feeling like what it felt like again, I was like, man, I want to fight. And I saw like these clips on TikTok and like Instagram reels of like Mike Perry and like all these crazy motherfuckers just doing bare knuckle, hitting each other in the face, like getting dropped, breaking their face. And I was like, I told my manager, I said, I kind of want to try this with an influencer. I want to see if like any influencer's down to do this with me. And we reached out to Dave Feldman and he was like, okay, yeah, we love it. Let's do it. We tried to reach out to like some influencers. None of them were down. And then I was like, okay, fuck it. Just give me a bare knuckle fighter. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, okay, let's make it fair. Make it like a guy that's like a lightweight that has to come up and meet me at my weight. So I was 195 when I signed the contract. He was 135 and we both met at 165. So it was like, okay, this guy has the experience. He's really good at fighting. He's an undefeated bare knuckle fighter. I'm an 0-1 amateur boxer.
He should have still won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was more like, so the reason I did it, it was like, okay, I'm not scared to do this. Let's like fucking, like, let me show you people, like, let me show the public I'm not scared to do this type of shit. And if I lost, everyone was already expecting it. It's like, okay, I lost to a professional fighter. Cool. Like I already lost my first one against like a dad. Like who's expecting me to win this? And then if I won, which happened, it shocks the world.
And you did win. And as much as I was joking on in my reaction to it, because you were clearly not as skilled as him, your natural reflexes in there were pretty good. Like and the fact that you went in the first 10 seconds and put it on him, that showed you weren't scared. And you landed and knocked him down. Tell me that feeling of like, holy shit, I just knocked down the bare knuckle guy.
So my game plan in that fight, most bare knuckle fighters, like they stand in the middle and they exchange. That was not my game plan. I'm not trying to fuck up my face. I'm not trying to like.
You're in the wrong game.
Yeah, I'm not trying to just sit there and bang with another person in the middle of a ring. My game plan was to move around the ring, and the experienced fighter, his house, this undefeated fighter has to prove himself. Like he's like, this guy's challenging me, a TikToker's challenging me. I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him. Mm-hmm. So I was waiting for him. My game plan was to move around, wait for him to come into my range, and in the first 10 seconds he did. And that's what my game plan was. It's like, okay, as soon as he's in my range, I'm gonna give him like a really like nice punch.
And what was it like feeling the bare knuckles touching the face like that? Because obviously you can't really train for that. You fuck around and find out what it is in the ring, right? Like,
yeah.
Was it much different to full on boxing gloves?
Like after the first round, I was feeling everything, but like my adrenaline was pumping so much in that first round where I would get hit. My vision would almost like it would flash.
I hear you. Yeah.
It would flash. It wasn't hurting, but it was like every time I got hit right here, it was like
it's like the movie, it was like right?
It's like I blinked. I was like, huh. Oh, I'm in a different spot now. That's kind of weird. But yeah, it's like it didn't hurt until like the second round when he clipped me across my like cheek and like, or it was like my eyebrow where he split my eyebrow open. I felt that like it was. You kind of see me like when he hits me with that, and then I start like dripping in blood. It felt like a knife just like stabbed me right in my eye. Like that's what it felt like. And I was like, oh my God, did he just fucking hit me with his hand like that? and I kept like a straight face. Like that was easy. Like I sit back and I just saw the blood start to pour out. I was like, oh my God, he fucking cut me. All right, I have 3 more rounds of this shit. All right, I could probably survive.
Yeah. Isn't that what you signed up for in a way, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm here to be fucked up and give it everything and find out what I'm about. And the one thing in both of the fights that you've had, despite being outmatched, you showed heart and you got a chin. Like, you've definitely got it. Like, in that Austin McBroom fight, you had no business being in there with him. And yet, you were just admirable, mate. Like, I fucking swear to God. Like, I remember thinking, if he learns how to box, he has the what's inside to push him to that next level. And I think you showed a hint of that in the bare knuckle thing. Obviously, the fight was cut short by injury, but you proved your point in what we've seen. And in that post-match speech, where you made that, like when you said, I've always been a fighter, I loved that because it showed like ironic humor in a moment where you should be going crazy. I told you so. Like KSI's been saying all week, if he wins, it's going to be over for everyone. Like they'll never, but you kind of kept it together in a more likable way than that, maybe. Like, and how did you find the presence of your mind to be able to not go crazy and to be able to go? You actually said, look, I got a bit lucky. He's a great fighter. He cracked us. You were very level-headed. Why?
To be honest, like I'm humble in defeat and humble in victory. I don't like the guys that'll win a fight and then just act like they're the shit, like nobody can take them, because it's like anything can happen in any of these fights. Mm-hmm. I don't want people to go back and be like, oh, look at how cocky this guy was, and then I lose another fight, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm humble in victory and I'm humble in defeat. Like, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna beat Deji's ass, and then I'm gonna shake his hand and be like, hey, you're a good fighter, and I don't want him to quit. I want him to keep going.
I respect that. There must have been a moment though, like, I don't know, let's say, and I kind of want to know what that was like, where you realized, I just want a fucking bare knuckle fight in front of everyone who doubted me. Like, whether it was when you got home, what was that little moment?
It's like, I would joke along with it, but it's like people would just go like, hey, look, I'm not a fighter, I'm not a boxer. Look, you lost your fight and lose. So it was like, I kept hearing that constantly, and I'm just like, man, I need to do another one.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do another one. Like, I was like thinking like, maybe do I retire here? But it was like, no, I'm fucking still young. Like, I want to fight. Like, it's fun. And then I was just like, okay, what can get the people going? Like, this guy's insane. He should try this. And I can't.
That people talking shit about you, how does that impact you? Because we all get it.
It's never been hard for me. It's like, it's so weird to say, but I've been bullied like my entire life growing up. It was affecting me like immensely when I was a kid.
How old were you, said?
Like when I was 12 to 17.
Yeah, the rough years.
So like, yeah, like the high school, like you think school is life. Like you think these are the only people you're ever going to know.
Yeah.
And then once you leave high school, you realize how stupid all of it was. That's kind of like how I think and view life as. I think I'm in one big high school and people are talking shit about me just like I was in high school, and none of their opinions really matter. I know who I am at the end of the day. Like, I don't care what people say about me. So.
It's healthy to be in that place. And it's hard to have, you kind of have to find a balance of like, all right, I want to acknowledge the opinion, but I don't want it to become everything. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, take a bit of feedback, but not let it define me. And like you say, you've got a fight with Deji coming up. And why Deji specifically?
I think he's one of the best influencer boxers.
Yeah, I think he's probably more technical than KSI.
His record does not reflect on his skill level at all.
You know why that is? It's because he didn't dedicate himself.
He doesn't have the dog like KSI does.
Yeah.
If KSI had Deji's technical boxing skill and had the ego that he has and the dog that he has, he could actually probably be like a really good professional boxer.
Yeah. I know a mate of mine who trains with pros, and he knows a pro who spars Deji and says he is good. Like, no bullshit. Off camera, he is good. So it is a difficult fight from someone looking from the outside in for you, because I believe you're the better athlete. I believe you're probably more tenacious and you're bigger and probably stronger. But he has got like a bit of silky skill to him, where he will leave his chin out on a plate and whoop, and now you see his now, and then come back and counter you.
Yeah, but I'm not like a Fousey Tube athlete. Like, Fousey Tube's like a jack dude, and he was in there with Deji when he shouldn't have been, and he's slow. Like, I'm like a fast big dude. Like, I agree. I'm not like a like a 165 that moves like I'm like 190. Like I'm a 190 that moves like I'm 145.
I agree. That's how you caught your guy in bare knuckle.
If that Deji that fought Fusitube fought me tomorrow, I would put him to sleep.
I like that. I'll clip that up. And I think if I was you, I'd be looking at Deji thinking, I need to put you in a competition of who wants it more and who's going to work harder. Like, there's always just been that question mark of Deji. Is he going to be in shape? And I think he's definitely gotten better at that, but it's still there in the back of the head. And I think that would be the type of fight you'd want to create, I guess.
Yeah, and I think he would take me seriously. I think Deji knows that I would 100% be his hardest fight to date.
Agreed.
He hasn't fought anyone like super serious besides Floyd Mayweather, obviously. But like,
when you say that,
besides the Floyd Mayweather,
Floyd definitely took him lightly. I think Floyd gave him the nicest treatment that he gave, like, because Floyd treats people with disrespect.
Yeah,
but for whatever reason, I think he kind of liked Deji, and he was like, okay.
Yeah,
but as I've seen him humiliate other guys,
like high level boxers,
and I think he wanted to hurt Logan bad. Actually,
but
I don't think he wanted to hurt.
Too big, yeah.
I don't think he wanted to hurt Deji in the same way. And Deji actually gave him that black eye, right? Yeah. So if you can land on Floyd, you can land on you. So that's another thing for you to bear in mind, I guess. And
I think this is what I will say about Deji. I think he is like, he's not like KSI. He doesn't have that dog, and I think he's really weak minded. And he gets easily demotivated, and that's why he sometimes doesn't come into shape with like some of his fights. I think he's going to hit me with his hardest punches, and he's going to realize that I'm not going to go down, and that's going to destroy him mentally. And I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to keep hitting him harder, and he's going to have to like, oh shit, I'm going to lose to another TikToker.
Those bastard TikTokers.
Those bastard TikTokers are going to take that knee. Like, oh, God.
Remember that mate, that was one of the funniest boxing matches ever. Credit to Deji. He was comedic in that.
Yeah,
but here's one interesting thing. You know, since he started winning again, there's been a kind of consistent thing that happens where in the fights where he lost, he kind of talked a load of shit and then didn't show up. And I've noticed when people like Fuzi are in his face giving it that, and he's like, okay. And he does this thing where he just doesn't react. How do you think you're going to handle the run up to the fight with him? Are you going to be trying to drag him out into a war of words, or are you just going to let him be the silent assassin there?
I mean, it's like he can try to be the silent assassin. You know, like there's no fear going in with Deji. Like there's not like, oh shit, like he might whoop my ass. Like I don't think like that. I also don't think he has what it takes to embarrass me. I think he is like a very highly skilled influencer boxer, but that's it.
Are you still training regularly now? Are you on the run up now?
Yeah, no, I'm still training 4 times a week.
And have you got a sensei, a coach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm training with George Foreman Jr. right now. I'm training 4 times a week. I'm like obviously on this vacation, like 2 times, or I'm going to try to train with Idris.
Oh, Virgo, yeah.
Virgo. We're actually DMing right now. I want to spar him. Because I know he's like, I know he's KSI's like main sparring partner. So I want to see, like, I'm going to tell him, yo, spar me like you spar KSI. And I want to see these levels that KSI talks about.
The balls on this guy. I love it. And I mean,
I think Idris is like extremely talented.
He is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause he beat, the guy on the last one, Aaron Chalmers. Yeah. And Chalmers, you see him with Floyd. Floyd wasn't treating him like Deji.
Yeah.
He realized I got to be on my game here just to make sure I look as good as I want to look. It's not just an easy, let's go for a jog type pace. So Virgo must be high.
Yeah. Idris was calling me out on Twitter one time, like he wanted to fight me. I was like, dog, shut up.
I must admit, the thing about that guy that I will say that it doesn't sit right with me is like, you're not an influencer boxer though.
He's levels above all of these influencers.
Yeah, you're like Tommy. You're Tommy. You're like,
I can't fight Tommy.
I can't be bothered to fight these pros for like less than money than what I'm going to get for beating up these influencers to let me fuck up these. But I think misfits are going to have to be very careful with who they match him up with, because it can be dangerous putting him in there with, like if you put them in there with you, that wouldn't be a fair fight.
Yeah.
But what you want to put yourself in there with them to find this out. Are you worried that they'll be sharing information, taking about the Deji, and are you just like, fuck it?
I mean, like I'm not going to be like the same fighter tomorrow. Like when I spar with Idris, I'm not going to be the same fighter that fights Deji.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't think anyone has seen me box recently. They saw me brawl with G Perez, but they didn't see me box. And I am a completely different boxer now.
I agree. Yeah, you were, and I say this respectfully, you weren't ready. You were a baby, you know, you were learning on the job in a main event. It's never a good idea.
Yeah, with all of those eyeballs.
Yeah, and that's what I try and put across to people who slag YouTube, because I hang around with real boxers and I'm like, well, your debut was in front of what, 200 people in a boxing club? Like they do it in front of 20,000 people. It's not really fair on them. They're learning in front of the eyes of the world, right? And that's why I give you all the credit to do that. And I think when you do fight Deji, that is going to be a sick event. You pick well in that regard. And there's other fighters who you might fight. Like, I think Whindersson Nunes might be a good fight for you one day.
That's why I'm like looking at, you know, someone like Ryan Taylor, that people are like, yo, you should fight Ryan Taylor. Where I'm like, dude, I would walk through that guy and make it look like it was super easy.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Like I would make it look so easy.
Have you seen the bad blood between him and Swarms?
Yes.
Where Swarms goes, where's that kid? Where's your kid?
He also
fuck.
He also talks shit about me. Not Swarms. I think Swarms is a really nice guy. But like Ryan Taylor, he like will say like, oh, it's on site when I see you. I'm just like, okay.
Ryan's wild. That's the one thing I'm
He is wild.
a believer of. Like it would be on site if he said it. Like
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna see him. So
yeah, well, we'll find out then, right?
yeah, we'll see.
When I was looking you up, I seen that you'd done a movie with 50 Cent.
Yes, I did.
That's fucking cool, bro.
I was actually like gonna fight KSI when he was doing his like comeback.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But I was in the middle of shooting my movie with 50 Cent.
Oh, sorry. I'm just busy with 50 Cent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, dude, can you wait like a month? I'll be done.
Yeah, I love 50 Cent, mate. What was it like doing that movie with him?
Dude, he's a lot bigger in person.
Yeah.
Like that guy is like really sick. But yeah, the movie should be coming out, I think February. So like around when I fight.
Yeah. What kind of role do you play?
Kind of like a douche, but like also like a nice douche. Like, hey, like this guy.
Method actor then, right?
Yeah. Like I was literally just playing myself. Yeah. It was really sick to work with 50 Cent. Really nice dude.
Yeah,
actually, you'd be surprised.
He's been through so much in his life, mate.
Yeah.
And like when you look at what he's built, it makes all these YouTubers going, I came from nothing. It's like, no. You came from a nice house and you had a nice computer with nice cameras and all that. 50 Cent, like, that was nothing. In terms of Hollywood, obviously, there's parties, there's girls. It's got its upsides. You done much of the old Hollywood partying since you become famous?
Yeah. I've done
the face on him. The face on him.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no shit, bro.
Like I was 17 doing that shit.
Really?
I'm over it now.
Yeah? You sort of leveling out?
I kind of like grew it out.
How old are you now?
24.
Wow. To say you're over it at 24 is wild.
Yeah, I know. I'm like over the partying because I partied so fucking hard. Like when I was like 17 to 22.
How bad are we talking? What kind of levels? There's levels to this.
There's levels to partying.
What level?
Let me tell you guys, there's levels to partying.
Yeah.
None of these influencer boxers are on my partying. They're not.
I believe it. What we saying? Like,
dude, like 30 naked girls in our pool. Like it was like that type of, like the movie type parties. We were doing those. And I don't know if I like what I can say and what I can't say. So it's like, just know that they were parties.
You're an extremist type of guy, right? Like you didn't get into being famous because you wanted to be a normal dude. Like you obviously have that attraction to excitement. What was the reason behind you wanting to be famous?
Mainly because I didn't have friends. So I started with live streaming on YouNow, which was like a competitor with Twitch. So I started because I didn't have anybody like to talk to. Wow, I sound like such a fucking loser. I didn't have anybody to talk to. So I was just like, oh man, I want to talk to some people. So I would go live. There'd be like 3 or 4 people on my chat. You'd go live on a hashtag and it's like based off of views. So it's like you would go higher up in ranks as more people would watch you. And I remember like having like 3 or 4 people in my live streams just talking to me, and I would like talk back, and then it just gradually kept growing. And like at one point it got to, when I was 14 years old, 5,000 concurrent viewers.
Which is great. Just 14, Jesus.
Yeah, just me talking, doing stupid challenges, pranking people, jumping off of shit. It was just weird.
Do you think you were aware at 14 why you were doing that?
No, I just saw the views, and then I got my first paycheck, and I was like, wait, I don't have to fucking work at a grocery store.
How old were you when you got your first one?
14.
Can you remember how much you got paid?
$2,500.
That's a life-changing moment, right?
Oh, I spent it all in like, I think a weekend, just on like clothes, shoes, because my mom would buy me all my clothes. So I'm like, all right, let me get my whole wardrobe changed.
That must be challenging for your mother, because she's obviously trying to get you educated and get you a job and to do the right thing. And all of a sudden you're getting drawn off into this. Was she worried?
No, she believed in me. She believed in me from day one. And that's why she's my number one supporter, and I love her. Yeah, I rate that. If I'm right in thinking you are a single mother family, just like me, I think both our dads in jail as well. So we got just got that in common. My dad's out now, so thank you. I think mine is too.
But yeah, I did a bit of reading up, and your upbringing, yeah, it was not the easiest, right? Like emotionally. And I know you've talked a little bit about your dad. Where's your head with that situation now? Because you were very young when you stopped seeing him, and now you're going through a lot of things where you're becoming a grown man yourself now. So you get a different perspective, right, on viewing his behavior. Has anything changed in the way you view him?
In the way I view him, I still think he's a total piece of shit, and I never want to meet him.
Has he asked to meet you?
Yeah. So growing up, I would get bullied for not having a father. And my mom would always like cry and say she is super sorry about that. But in my head, it never clicked, where I was like, I didn't remember having a dad. So it's like, I didn't know what it was like to have both parents. So I was like, this is just normal to have like a single mother busting her ass off. So like every time someone would make fun of me, and people still sometimes like as a joke, like will make fun, like, you have no dad, where it's like, I don't even take offense to it because I'd never had a dad and I don't know what it was like to have a dad.
From personal experience, when you watch your mother struggle like that, it makes you fiercely loyal, right? Like, and I can imagine now the way I'm seeing little clips here that how close you guys are. What does she think about you doing bare knuckle as well? Like, because there's one thing being like, well done, you're doing live streaming. It's another thing going, Mom, I'm gonna fucking go and get punched in the face.
She was shitting brick. My uncle's like a Taekwondo master. He came. He did a few MMA fights in his life, was 2-0 and retired because he felt bad for breaking a dude's ribs.
Wow.
Yeah, he came and he was fucking electrified. He was like, oh, this is sick. My mom was shitting bricks. Understandable. I told her, I was like, just don't watch the fights leading up because they're brutal. I'm not going to fight like that. And then, of course, she watched all the fights leading up. And she's there sitting front row watching girls and guys get their teeth knocked out.
Jesus, did you see that clip recently?
Yeah.
That chick's mouth? Wow.
Yeah.
She looked like she went to the dentist and then some, right? It was bad.
It was bad. Like those types of fights are just so bad. And my mom thought my fight was going to be like that. So she's freaking out. All my friends are also freaking out. Like I brought some of my friends out there. And they're like getting super worried. My friends that don't even drink, they're getting super drunk. Like they're like, oh God,
we got to be hammered before this happens.
Hammered for this.
Yes.
Obviously, she was super nervous, and once I won, wanted to find her, make sure I was like super, like wanted to let her know I was good.
Yeah.
I had like a scar on my eye, so I was just like, no, this is all I got. It's awesome.
Yeah, and with your mother, I'm assuming you financially have removed those burdens now.
Yeah.
What did that feel like, bro?
I started social media. Like when I started making money, I told her my goal was when I started to buy her a house. So as I was actually shooting the movie with 50 Cent, in the middle of my scenes, I was signing papers for her house in Florida that I bought.
Amazing.
So I was like, oh wow, this is what it kind of feels like to, like, what's my new goal? Like that was the reason I started. So it's like, now I'm like, okay, so I guess I can help other people or help myself. Like, should I get myself some shit now? Like, I'm good, right?
What was her reaction like when you got that?
Fucking bawled her eyes out. It felt good. Not for her to cry. Not for her to cry.
No, but that's what it's about, right? You know, you did good for her. Yeah. I think that's such a good part of your story that, I don't know. I know some people know about it, but it's great that you put that out there because, I don't know, I think not enough influencers focus on the backstory as well. And you mentioned about your dad. You said you never want to meet him. He reached out. Why was it a flat no? Oh, and would you ever reconsider?
Abuse. So he was an abusive person.
Right.
Didn't want to. He was my mom. Obviously, I don't know, but like my mom's telling me he's like a mooch. So
Yeah.
he will probably just try to be like, oh man, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Never paid child support, so maybe once he pays that back.
Yeah, it's funny how many famous dudes like Eminem, Joe Rogan, their dads come crawling out of the wood. I seen like this video.
Like once they start getting attention,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, hey, I missed you. That's crazy. I missed
just
you.
like me.
The other 7, I don't care about them, but you're
Man.
so sick.
Yeah, it's a bad look, that, right? Like, yeah. Too little, too late, bro. So we talked about the most important lady in your life. What about the ladies, the women, the females? Describe your love life so far. You're 24 years old, so obviously, you know.
No love life as of right now. I had that, like my girlfriend in the past.
Yeah, the famous chick, right?
Yeah, the famous chick.
Uh-huh.
This is what I realized when I look for a girlfriend and when I'm like actively trying to find a girl that I want to date. It never works out. Like I'll find like a girl that'll just want to do like a one night stand. Totally fine with that. But that's not like my girlfriend.
Yeah.
When I find a girl that I think I'm going to date, it takes me like 3-4 months to have sex with that girl.
No.
If I have a girl that I like genuinely like, I will not have sex with her for like 3-4 months.
Wow. That's insane self-control, by the way. What's the reason?
Because sometimes like sex will just distract you from like actual feelings with your significant other. I think the sex kind of like amplifies your feelings, and you don't really recognize a person. You're falling in love with the sex.
I've been there, like.
So like you
So
actually
true.
only like the sex. You don't like the person. So
Yeah.
if I like the person, I want to know if I actually like the person. I don't think sex is as intimate or important as actually finding a soulmate.
Deep shit, that.
Yeah.
For a guy your age, with all due respect. That's, you've got it figured out, because like I've been in relationships before or things before where it's been like a few months goes by and I'm like, God, you're actually a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, but I just love the ass. Like, what? That I don't love you. Like, this ain't, and obviously, like, you're kind of sidestepping that problem by really figuring that out. But then, what do you do if they throw it at you one night and you're like, no, like, and all of a sudden it's like, get off me. You know what I mean? Stop it. No.
Dude, stop putting that ass.
How do you deal? Like, I don't know.
No, I mean, like I tell them straight up. So if it's like, if I do not have sex with the girl on the first day, it's like, I'll tell the girl straight up. I'm like, hey, I don't do this. I'm like, I want to see like what this is first. But it's like, yeah, I'll have those one nights where it's like, it's like after a club, I'm drunk.
Yeah,
I just
whatever.
met you at a club. Like that type of vibe. It's like, all right, it goes down.
How do they react though when you say, I'm not that kind of guy?
Wow, I didn't expect that. And then they like it.
I'll bet you they'll love it. I bet you they love
They
it.
love
And then you
it.
become the challenge.
Exactly.
Oh, mate, you've got it all figured out.
Come on.
This guy's a genius. Is there a type that you have physically and mentally?
No type. It's like, obviously it's a bonus if the chick has like a dump ass, you know what I mean? Like if she has like a fat old bunda on her, that's awesome. That's like a physical feature, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's no physical attributes besides like the bunda.
Okay, so personality-wise, what's
Personality,
the main-
I like a girl that has drive. Like she has a plan with her future. Like she's not just oh, I just want you to buy me things.
Okay, yeah.
I like
that.
I like a girl that has her own drive. And obviously I'm gonna buy you things if you're my girl, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like the girl that immediately makes that the
trophy wife type. You want more like, what are you doing with your life, you know?
yeah.
And like, how are we then on a journey together rather than...
Yeah, I would also want a girl that'll be in my content.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has to be kind of cool with that.
Like just maybe not like always in my content, but if the camera's on and like you're here, it's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I wondered if the Logan Paul experience had made you rethink that, because when he put his girl in the content, she then became available for shots, right? Like, and is there a worry that you have to then protect that woman from the outside world a little bit?
I notice like with every single girl that I'm with or I'm talking with, like they always talk about like hate that they get and like it bothers them. But I try to explain in the best way possible that like they shouldn't worry about it because it's like pointless. Who the fuck are these people to talk shit about you? You know you.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like my motto where I'm like, hey, this is how I view it, but they're not as. I don't know.
No, they're just different, right? Like,
they're just different.
One thing Mams Taylor said on the last podcast was different things make people depressed. Like we can't have our expectations of what we're okay with on the next person. And I really felt that. I was like, yeah, like, and you and I have been built and trained over years to get used to this. And you're they're not getting that graduation. They're just getting dropped in the deep end like, hey, bitch, you ready? We're on the internet. Yeah.
Expect this. Millions of people are going to start shitting on you, by the way.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yeah.
No, so I guess you have to be really...
if it's a girl that's already in the space, it'd be easier. But if it's like somebody that's like completely new to it, and then I'm, like you said, dropping them right into the deep end and then saying, good luck, that's harder.
Let's say nobody knew her body count, but it was high. Would that bother you?
It depends, like, just how high. Like, I mean,
25.
I don't think that's high for a female.
Yeah.
I think especially in our day and age, too.
Yeah. In LA, I assume it's...
like in LA, too.
Yeah.
Like, I think if it's higher than mine, I'd be like, okay.
Whoa.
Hey, let's chill
out there, dog.
Let's chill out a little bit. But you never know. I mean... We'll see.
At what age in your life do you see being the right time for you to go, you know what? I'm gonna settle down now. Do you think it would be later?
Closer to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Closer to 30 when I'm like, okay, I think within the next 2 girls, and it could even be my next girl, that's gonna be the woman I marry.
Wow.
I haven't dated, you know?
Yeah.
Like my last girlfriend was 2 years ago. Or 3. Damn, it's been 3 years.
You're doing a lot of growing right now, right? So like you're probably feeling more mentally ready now.
Yeah. I think when I was in my last relationship, I was definitely not ready for a relationship.
Yeah. And do you think she was or?
Yeah. I think she was she's the relationship type. Like she's like the wife, you know? Like she's like I could get married tomorrow type girl.
I feel like men shouldn't even think about marriage until they're 30 because we're fucking, as much as we're growing up, we're immature.
So
right?
immature.
Yeah. Yeah. Women are more configured to it than what we are. And also like, you kind of want to be at the peak of your powers for when you're making a decision like that in the best possible situation that you can be in so that you're not like, you don't want to regret it later. And I know a few dudes who get married in their mid to early 20s and like you see them at 30 and like shit's changed from like they're 2 different people. And it's like, why did you do that then? You know?
Well, when you think you know, right?
Yeah. It's funny because there's this theory about men being like taxis and once the light comes on, they're ready. And for you to just say that and be like, I think it'll be the next one or the one after. I don't know. Something must be changing for you.
I mean, I would think because I know how serious I would take a relationship. Like, I'm not going to date a girl unless I think that that's the girl.
Yeah. And so you've had casual flings. I did a little bit of research. Tana,
we were never a thing.
Did you ever fuck?
Yeah, we fucked.
Right.
But not like there was never like we were talking.
Why do you fuck a girl like Tana? What's the sort of thought process?
I mean, I was fucking like 18, 19.
I mean, that'll do it.
Yeah.
She's alive.
I was 18, 19. We were both drunk. We were at a party. Just kind of happened. Yeah.
Because she's talked about it a little bit on a podcast, and I just thought that was an interesting one because she's controversial, right? Like she knows how to...
Extremely.
She stays relevant. For however.
She somehow gets involved in every single little drama, even if it's the farthest thing from her.
Yeah, that would terrify me. Being involved with a woman like that, I'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But like you say, 18, 19.
I think our entire sexual experience, that one time that we had sex, is just out to the public.
It's fair game.
They know from the minute we laid in bed to like in excruciating detail.
Oh God.
To when we left.
Is that a worry for you in terms of like, because you know, normal guys your age, right? We're going to have moments where we turn up and we're pissed off our face and we take a girl back and we just sexually don't perform, for example. But with you, you're like, I'm a story to, and it ain't even necessarily like a social media story. Like, you're just some bar talk where, like, oh yeah, she fucked Bryce Hall last week and this happened. And like every detail is out there. Are you conscious of that, or do you try and, fuck it?
I try to perform as best as possible every single time so that story is like, whew, he
What a
was
guy.
great.
That bare knuckle guy, wow.
Dude, oh my God. Talk about bare knuckle.
Yeah. It's the fist out. He just got the fist out, just went straight for the anal passage. Unbelievable. I mean, that's a new one. But because, I don't know, for men, like, usually at that age, it's kind of like, it depends what's in front of you. Because sometimes women, I think, sometimes have this impression, like, if he was bad in bed with me, he's just bad in bed with everyone. They don't realize, like, we perform
it's kind of like
levels. There's levels.
There's levels to sex.
And I raise my game for whatever's on the table. Depends.
If the girl doesn't match the right energy, it's not going to be like the best sex.
Yeah.
I've had some girls where it's like, wow, the sexual energy. And like I was saying, like the sex, like you fall in love with the sex and not the person.
Yeah.
Like the sex is so good where it's like, oh my God, I think that I could fucking marry this person. Like,
This is so true.
so insane. Like, the energy just matched. Like you guys like are so perfect for each other just in that you guys match the vibe. Like it's just kind of flowing like an ocean. Like it's insane. Like those types of girls. And then you'll find the ones where it's like you'll fall in love with their personality and then the sex is like, oh, wow, that was so good.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was amazing.
That was the best 2 minutes of my life.
But then it's a cliche, but like the crazy bitches are the best sex.
Oh.
And the sex will be crazy, but the arguments will be even crazier.
Oh yeah.
And that's when you kind of have to go, oh, this is good, but it's not that good.
Yeah, it's the mainly the Latinas I've noticed.
Mate, Latinas are beautiful.
Yeah, but they are all so crazy. Crazy good in bed too.
Because he likes the big asses. The Latinas come naturally, right?
Dude,
Like,
yeah, I've been going back and forth with this this Latina like fling. She's Argentinian.
Oh, sounds amazing.
Yeah, and she's got a giant butt.
I love the honesty, lad.
Here, I'll just be honest. Shout out Mika.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, levels.
Yeah, there's been levels.
There's levels to this shit. We rate it. Mate, honestly, I rate the honesty because not like what you're saying is so true about like falling in love for the sex. And I think as men, we are so easily duped into that. And one day you wake up and it's like, it is shit, actually, other than the sex. I had a moment where I was like, how do I get this girl out of my flat right now? Like, she's just screaming and going crazy. And I've been in a situation before with a chick where I was literally like, you're so crazy, I'm scared to ask you to leave. Because I feel like if I even just suggest that, I feel like I'll be reported for something. Like, she's just crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, and when you've got a bit of profile as a guy, you're like, I don't want to fuck my life up just for this crazy bitch, but I'm scared of you right now. And it is a different level of like power when you're a man where you've got something to lose in that scenario because you don't want to piss these girls off. But yeah, we keep going back to the Latinas, unfortunately.
Yeah, it keeps happening.
You said on a podcast recently you tried mushrooms, and I've never tried them before, but I've heard that they give you some real good perspectives on life and just to better understand yourself and where you're going and a sort of thing. So what did you get from those experiences?
I microdose, not as much. I haven't microdosed in a while. It's been like probably like 2 months since I took mushrooms, 3 months. Yeah, something like that.
Have you ever done a fuckload? And
yeah,
what was that like?
It's fucking the craziest experience I've ever had in my life. It's when I had like my crazy turn on social media, like a different perspective of
how long ago was this? At what period of time? After Austin
probably,
McBroom? Or?
Yeah. 2022.
Okay.
2022, I took probably, I would say, I didn't measure it obviously, but probably close to like 10 grams of mushrooms.
So our editor takes a lot of mushrooms. He just told me that's a lot with a look.
Yeah. Like 10 grams of mushrooms. It was like a tripping, seeing, like I was talking to myself, not knowing I was talking to myself. Like it was like people were watching me that were sober and they were like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? I cried looking at stuff. Like, it was that type of vibe. Like, I would look at the sun, like the sun setting, and I'd start bawling my eyes out. Like, it was like I was tripping. But I had like this whole vision in my head. And if I tried to explain it in words, I saw the evil version of myself die.
And when you say evil version, what did it look different?
The one that wanted, like, the greedy one. Like, there, like my life was split into twos. Like, I was watching like the version of myself now and the version of myself, like my old self, and I like split, and this version killed this one. It's so hard to explain.
So the good version killed the bad version.
Yes. And it felt good. And I started crying from that too, because I thought I died. I was tripping balls.
Wow.
Yeah, but
and when you came to, was any of those realizations still with you? Did you take things further on beyond that? Because you said you changed your behavior on social media after this.
Yeah.
What were those sort of?
I think it was like what you were explaining, where I think a lot of these dudes need to just take mushrooms.
When you say these dudes, you mean these
like
influencer
boxers or influencers in general. I think they develop like such an ego, and I can say, like, for myself, like, I had it as well. They think they're better than everybody else. They put themselves on a pedestal, think that they're not like a common human being. But everybody is the exact same. It's just some people have better work ethic, and some people are just straight up lucky.
Yeah. There's a lot of those fuckers.
Like, dude, fucking TikTokers. Everyone that just did the Renegade got super famous overnight.
Yeah.
Some took advantage, some didn't.
There's an attachment, isn't there, that they seem to develop where it becomes a part of who they are. They place such importance on the numbers that they do, and that's where the superiority complex comes from, I think, of like, I am this person and these millions of people are sort of almost belong to me and they worship me and adore me, and I'm like a god. I think
KSI should take a bunch of mushrooms. KSI, I will personally be your trip sitter. And I will take a shit ton of mushrooms with you, and we can just go walk on a field and see what happens.
Like, I really don't give a fuck anyway about followers and stuff like that, but I want to push myself further. And this does seem like a good way of doing that, of like realizing reality through being.
I think what I will say, if you're going to do it, you need somebody that's going to like guide you through it, because you're going to have moments where you get scared, like very scared. If you take a lot, like if you're only microdosing, you'll just feel like a more amplified version of yourself. Colors are more vivid. You walk around super happy. Like, it's really.
Is that not dangerous though, to get used to that happy state and being out of your normal state?
No, because I haven't done it in 3 months, and I still feel great. Like, it's not an addictive drug.
So it's left a permanent change there, you feel?
Yes.
Wow.
Not saying for the public to do it, by the way. Not encouraging the public to do it, but from my personal experience, I've had a great experience.
Do you think that helped you with the defeat to Austin specifically?
No. I think it was more, it affected me more with how I dealt with the backlash of it.
Oh, okay.
Like the defeat itself, like losing a fight. It's like losing fights. It's like, oh man, you're stronger than me. Ooh, right? Like, we're dudes. Who cares? It was more the people making fun of me for it, and I couldn't say anything about it, because it's like, they don't know what it was like. They don't know what it's like to step in front of millions of people and fight, like punch another man in the face and get punched in the face, and experience that at like a 21-year-old. Yeah, it was just like all of that, just constantly getting reminded about it.
There's this thing on social media. A mate of mine, Chris Williamson, said, when you're on the come up, you remind people of themselves because they have dreams too. But when you achieve those dreams, and I might be butchering this, but when you achieve the dreams, a lot of the people who are watching you haven't achieved those dreams. So you then kind of remind them of what they haven't done. And that's when they change towards you. And that's when they want you to fail. and that's when people start rooting for you, and then they take great pleasure in the downfall. And let's not kid ourselves. Like, one of the main reasons why this Prime card is going to sell so well is because the 4 main guys all have so many haters, like all of them.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing, right? Like, and when you hit the point that you've got with millions of followers, like half of those guys are just there to hope that you post something. Oh fuck, I did this wrong. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a weird
I think that's
thing.
why like a lot of the live streamers are blowing up right now. It's like watching like a potential train wreck.
Yeah.
Like when Fusi was just re-blowing up.
Jesus,
like
mate.
every single fucking stream he was doing something stupid. But it's like all these streamers that are blowing up right now and all these people that are watching them. It's like,
It's Car Crash TV, right?
yeah, like you're just literally waiting for them to do something stupid to just hop on the trend of hating them.
Yeah, clip that up, post it, boom. And what do you make of the new generation? Like, because you're now kind of a few years on and you're seeing Speed and KSI. What do you make of those guys?
I think live streaming is super talented. Like, I think to be a big live streamer is super impressive because you have to be on 24/7. Like, it's not like a YouTube video where you can just have the entertaining parts, cut it up. Like, when you're not dry, you have to have that energy for hours and hours at a time. So like, I respect them. I used to live stream. So it's like, I know what it's like to be
Stamina,
on.
right?
It kind of just fucking makes you go insane. So like Kai and Speed and like all those dudes, like, respect to them and shit. Like, I'm surprised you guys haven't went insane yet.
Yeah, and you see KSI being like live streaming Drake's album and
Drake's making songs about it.
It's
Sick.
fucking mental. And going back to the Austin thing, I mentioned it before. Will you ever fight Austin McBroom again? So
this is so funny. Austin McBroom wanted to fight me again. Kind of says a lot.
What does it say?
I mean, it's just like, he already beat me. Why does he want to fight me again, right? Loses to Gibb twice.
Can we stop on that? Because I wanted to know, what is it like when a guy who beat you, and it was quite bad blood.
It was like a very one-sided fight.
But then you see him get the dog shit beaten out of him by Gibb. Did you take any pleasure in that, or did you feel a certain way, like, oh, it's your turn now? Or
I didn't think Gibb was going to win that. So, like, first off, respect to Gibb for just making him look like absolute light work. It kind of made me realize, like, shit, like, it kind of made me feel like shit because I'm like, wow, the guy that beat my ass just got his fucking ass beat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's
because you were kind of rooting, like, all right, well, if
like,
you beat me, I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, it's like, I hope you keep doing well because it'll like say like, okay, there's the level gap,
right?
But it's like, got his ass kicked. Austin McBroom he needs money right now.
How do you know that?
Lawsuits. Fucking, he's moving to smaller and smaller houses.
Oh, really? What's his lawsuits about? Do you know?
There was something about like a loan on his previous house, combined 2 houses. Lots of scams that they've been doing, that family, and scammed the fighters on all my card, like on our fight card. Like he's like a scam guy. Like he's a fucking scumbag.
So there's real, like, you dislike this guy.
I mean, it's like, I'll shake his hand, but I do not respect what he's done. For his time being on social media, he's not a respectable guy. I would love to fight him again because I'm not the same person at all. And I guarantee the result would be him face planted on the ground. And I know I said this last time, but I guarantee he would be knocked out, like lifeless, knocked out, because Gibb put him on his shit. I hit harder than Gibb. I know that for a fact. But he's fighting G. Perez, the guy that I just beat.
In bare knuckle?
In bare knuckle. Don't know the date exactly yet. It's not like 100% official, but he needs the money. Bare knuckle has money. They're going to pay him. And if he wins, and it's G. Perez, which I don't think is going to happen because he has no chin, we rematch bare knuckle.
Wow. That would be sick.
Austin, I really hope you know, because I know you're going to see this clip. Bare knuckle's different. It's different. If you couldn't take a punch with a glove, it is different without a glove. And if you get through G. Perez, I hit hard, like bare knuckle.
you are right. Obviously, bare knuckle is hard, and it ain't going to be the same as the Gib fight with the gloves on. It is different game completely, and you know you're allowed to pull the chin and fucking give him a few sly ones
with that.
Yeah, yeah, you found that one out.
Yeah.
And I'll completely agree with you on one thing. You are a different fighter. It would be different if nothing else. You are a way harder fight now than what you were then. Way harder. So, and I think the excitement would be there for that fight just because two influencers who one has gone away and leveled up and grown and now is a different fighter, and the other guy who won has now had a couple of losses, looks much more human, and then you're adding the bare knuckle element into it. This is a long running feud. This would do money for sure. It would be a great fight. Yeah,
like so if he does win against G Perez, that's his money fight. That's the fight that would pay the bills.
Yeah, those bills be coming.
Yeah, I think he needs this G Perez fight because it's a money fight as well.
It's sad for me to hear an influencer who's done so much with his career, who's earned so much money and was in that big ass huge mansion, now in a situation where he's scammed people and he's fucked it up, and now he's doing smaller houses and like. Money management and stuff ain't included in the influencer handbook, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's karma.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, it'll come back. He never like bought a house. Like with all the money that he scammed and like he could have fucking bought a house at least.
It was all rented, basically.
Yeah, everything was rented.
Yeah,
his cars, Actually, I think his cars were bought. His cars were bought, so he had to sell those.
That's such a guy thing. Yeah. I'll rent the house, buy the car.
Rent the house. Yeah. He rents like these multiple, like these houses that he was renting. They weren't cheap rent. Like he could have bought a house. He could have put down a fat payment on a house that size, but he's renting these houses for like 50 to 70K a month.
Jeez.
Just to rent a house. Like just to look like to the public, like, yo, look how rich I am.
And
then it's like the house has just kept getting smaller and smaller. And now he lives in like North Hollywood, which if you guys know where that is, like in California, it's like a really bad area. Well, really? Not a really bad area. It's just like.
Shout out North Hollywood.
Yeah, shout out North Hollywood. It's not like it's not Beverly Hills.
Right, yeah. It ain't what he used to have, basically. Yeah. Fuck. That is wild.
Yeah, but hey, shit, Austin, you can buy that house. You can buy like a new house with the money that you'll get for fighting G Perez. And then if you win, you can fight me and that's another money fight. That's sick. That's like a good plan for you. So like train hard for this bare knuckle shit.
So let's say you beat Deji. You beat Austin McBroom. Who's your goal fight? Like who's the guy who you're like, that's my main event and that's the peak of the mountain for me?
KSI.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, what though? Yeah. It's like
size wise, you're quite a good match. Yeah. Quite similar build.
I think he's 170, right? Like he fights at 170.
I'd say he's a natural. Yeah, he could get to 170. I think he could go even lighter. I think he could go 165 actually. If he really.
That's what I usually like. We'll fight at 165. Yeah. I could go lighter, but it's just hell.
That's why it's crazy for me that he's fighting 183 Tommy Fury when, you know, like the Wasabi fight, he was in camp at 174 pounds. And I'm like, well, you could easily sweat 9 pounds off. And you're eating up to fight Tommy. Like, and Tommy's cutting right down to 183 and going right back up to, 200 or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a huge...
I mean, dude, I was, I was 195 when I signed the G Perez contract to fight at 165. Weighed in, and then the next day I was like 180.
There you go. Yeah. Like so Tommy will be 200 the night after.
The rehydration is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that will make you fill up. Like that's why everyone was saying I look so much bigger than him the day of the fight. But if you look at our weigh-in photos and our weigh-in videos, we look the same exact size.
Yeah.
It's like I gained 15 pounds overnight.
Fuck. And now you've got experience of doing that, you know.
Yeah.
What was that weight cut like? What did you? Yeah,
it was like 900 calories a day, two intense cardio sessions every single day, and I was 25 pounds over a week and a half before my weigh-in.
Wow!
So I cut that 25 pounds in like
that is
2 weeks.
That's probably a lot, right? Yeah. That's probably too much.
Yeah, it was like mainly water. It's like I did like saunas like crazy. the last few days. But yeah, no, I'm right back up. I'm like 190 right now. I'm like,
And final question is, how would you like to be remembered?
biggest balls. Like that kid has fucking balls.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to do anything.
I think that's great. You know, like in the pro fighting game, you look at the Nate Diaz's, people like him, people don't give a shit if he wins or
His
loses.
record was not that great.
Yeah, they don't care. We just want to see you scrap because you are here to scrap, and we appreciate that. And I think if you go down that road in fighting, it won't matter. Especially because, let's be real, you're a bit of a pretty boy, so people weren't expecting that from you, especially bare knuckle. So that's why I think everyone was like, fuck, well fucking done. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the people here in UK, like a lot of the fans are showing support out here, like of the bare knuckle fight. They don't even like know me off of TikTok. They're
Yeah,
like,
because your bare knuckle fight did fucking 6 million views or something.
Yeah, 12 million concurrents. And
Mate.
they were like, there's people coming up. They're like, yo, you're the bare knuckle guy. Like, you're the fist guy. And I was like, yeah,
the fister.
That's what I'm known as, the fister.
No, dude, genuinely, I think you'll get mad love in Manchester when
Yeah,
you're there.
no, I'm excited for the Prime fights. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And I want to see what like the audience is going to be like there, because I think I'm going to fight here against Deji.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be. I would want to fight in the UK.
I think that's a great idea because the audiences over here, and I'm sure you're going to find this out, are crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And Deji will get mad love. And yeah, you'll be the bad guy, but you're cool with that. You're built for it, for sure.
I walked out to G Perez getting booed. That shit was kind of fun.
Yeah, you handled it well, right? Yeah, I've seen you just be like, okay.
you see me in the walkout. I'm like, I was like, all my nerves. I was just trying to get them all out. I was like, all right, here we go. Here we fuck.
Yeah. Mate, I can't wait. Mate, you've been a great guest. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, big love. It's BRYCE HALL, True Geordie podcast. We can catch him soon fighting Deji. Can't wait for it. Cheers.